Welcome, ladies and gents, to the Grim and Bloody Podcast. This show is a presentation of horror, thriller, and suspense, and is intended for a mature audience. Join us at your own risk.
They come from a dying world. They drift through the universe, pushed on by the solar winds. They adapt, and they survive. The function of all life is survival. Sleep, sleep, sleep. From deep space, sleep. The seed is planted. Sleep, sleep. Terror grows.
Matthew!
Like the others.
Elizabeth, wake up! Get you when you sleep. Sit up!
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
It's got no detail, no character. It's unformed.
All of a sudden, they're growing like parasites.
Is it contagious?
People are being duplicated.
How do you know my name? I didn't tell you my name.
Can't find anything in here that looks like a body.
One side's nosebleed.
It looked right at me.
You're looking at it as if it was human. It was not human.
Now, the classic fear begins to grow
We're being cornered.
in a modern masterpiece of science fiction.
They're barricading the street.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Well, welcome to the Grim and Bloody Podcast on this Thursday, March 31st, 2022. Tonight, we are talking about Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 1978 remake that was directed by Philip Kaufman. Before we get into that, a quick bit of news on the Death Parade Film Fest. When this comes out, starting April 1st, if you visit our website, deathparadefilmfest.com, and you are a filmmaker, you have a short film or a feature, we are throwing out a 30% discount for the month of April. We'll have the code on the front page. So definitely send us your work because we will be screening it here in the North State this winter. And we're excited to have another season of films ready to share with everybody. So once again, month of April, 30% off. Special code that you would put into the shopping cart on filmfreeway.com. And we look forward to seeing your work. So without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce my cohorts. We are minus Alamega, who is on his way to WonderCon. But we have Kevin Nicholson, writer of Horror Newsnet. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing all right. Just checking the police blotter to make sure that Al's name doesn't show up on it. For any reason. You know him in WonderCon.
Oh yeah. Joe Flynn, how you doing, Joe?
Doing great.
Yeah, we are excited here. If you haven't been on our website lately, visit it because we made the announcement we will have a presence at Monster Palooza. We'll be dressed in some fancy Death Parade Film Fest t-shirts. So find us. We will be hunting down filmmakers, creatives, anybody willing to spend 5, 10, or 15 minutes to talk about what they're doing, how much fun they're having at the convention, and we're just going to be shooting the breeze and enjoying the horror life. I can't wait, guys. I think it's going to be freaking awesome.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. It is going to be, fun. And if these guys catch us after hours, having a drink or 10, I can't vouch for what happens after that.
Yeah, just join us. That'll be fun.
The views expressed do not represent the views of Death Parade Film Fest.
Or maybe they do. Fuck it. It's my shit.
Congratulations. You're one of us now.
These are our views. If you don't like it, fuck it.
If you don't like it, fuck all you motherfuckers.
Good. I got a warning on this podcast, and our YouTube videos are not made for kids. So you know what? This is for horror. This is for adults.
Well, good luck, kid, trying to watch this.
Yeah,
Well,
if you're
hey,
listening to this, you're probably gonna get in trouble.
I know. I'll tell you that I grew up with and Joe too grew up with a Creature Features host, Bob Wilkins, in the '70s, who said tonight's film, and he said this just about every week. So tonight's film contains nudity, horror, adult situations, and violence. So kids, put your parents to bed.
That's right.
That's what he has said. So kids will be the ones that watch horror films mostly. Anyway,
Put the kids to bed. I love that.
no,
Put the parents to bed.
Parents to bed.
Even better.
That's it. All right. So Phil Kaufman's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. What drove you, Anthony, to want to talk about that one tonight?
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you asked, because Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I had to rewatch it to find out why it was always an unsettling movie for me. I watched this maybe 10 years ago, or maybe probably, let me see. I think it's probably been 15 years ago, or maybe longer. I watched it on DVD. I rented it from Hollywood Video back when video stores were still cool. And it just had this feeling of dread and uncertainty. And movies that can kind of just spark off my imagination, like what I'm watching is probably not the full scale of what this could possibly be. I find those types of stories to be scary, like truly frightening. I can deal with gore and slashers. That stuff is just like popcorn and stuff. But when you have a film like this where you don't know how bad of a situation it is, you know that the main characters are facing, dire straits, but you just don't quite know how far reaching this is. Sometimes there's little eggs here, you can, if you're watching close enough, and there's a lot to unpack in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There's a lot of detail. You can get a sense that, one, you're not watching this in linear form, because, spoiler alert, this movie's in the 1970s, where we'll talk about it thoroughly. Even though it starts with you see the creatures from planets dying, they're spreading out, they're looking for a new home, and they're coming into Earth. They land in San Francisco. You have a feeling as you're watching it, the sinking feeling that what you saw in the beginning was not in linear fashion. Maybe that was, who knows, 6 months ago, 3 weeks ago. All you know is that by the time Donald Sutherland is in the car, I believe it's Brooke Adams, and the crazy guy lands on their windshield saying, we're all gonna die, and he's just out of his mind. And then you see him run away, and then a group of people run after him. You get the feeling that this is already taken off. We're kind of just jumping into it, maybe a quarter of the way. Who knows? You don't know, because they don't tell you. You just know that something bigger is going on here. Donald Sutherland, they just got caught up in it. They're not in the beginning of it. So those kind of movies, it reminds me also of The Thing, because there's just so much uncertainty, and that uncertainty gives you that uncomfortable feeling when you're watching, because it's not all being laid out for you, nice and easy on the screen. There's stuff that's happening on your peripherals that you're just like, well, I don't know what's going on over there. How bad is it, right? It's just that I love that feeling. So for Body Snatchers, it's always gonna be a fan favorite of me. I had the DVD until I snapped it, and I bought the Blu-ray. I believe they've also released this in 4K. It's going to be one of those movies that I would say is easily probably in my top 15.
Well, I'm going to tell you that you mentioned about the no linear time frame near the beginning of the of the film. The way it's directed by Phil Kaufman. It's a little background on Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It is based on the serialized story for Collier's Magazine, 1954, by Jack Finney, called Body Snatchers, The Body Snatchers. And but what what Phil Kaufman decided to do in introducing this film is, he shows the aliens, the parasites going from their dying planet to Earth, and you see these almost like macro photography of the seedlings, showing up on plants, and so forth. But what Phil Kaufman does with that crazy old man was Kevin McCarthy, the actor who starred in the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And while he doesn't directly connect the two with dialogue and so forth and a character name, it is somewhat suggested by Kaufman that this invasion in San Francisco may be a continuation of what potentially could have been started in Santa Mira, and that character, Kevin McCarthy's character, may be the same guy as his Dr. Miles Bennell, or the same doctor character as in the original. So he is playing with that. He doesn't go outright and say it, but if you look at it like that, you can see that maybe this isn't a first invasion, that these creatures have been here for a while, for 30 years or so, or 22 years. So that's just kind of the sneaky thing that Phil Kaufman does to bring a certain sense of linear to the story, maybe, and also at the same time pay homage to the original film. But I'm with you. I really enjoyed this film. I don't think quite that it's up with the original, but this presents the whole paranoia in a new vein, paranoia of being replaced. The original film did it as kind of a dissection on communism and the Big Brother, government watching you and controlling your every move. And but this one here, you notice that this takes place in the 70s with the new new age self-help books and things like that. So these alien parasitic creatures who take over, replace humans, could fit right in with kind of the the mindless hordes and things like that. So I like it, and but this is a film. I'm with you. This is a film to me that the subtlety is what's more terrifying to me than the overt. I can, the overt practical effect of seeing, let's say, the sequence where you see Donald Sutherland's pod being formed, and so forth. That's fine. That's a great practical effect, but it didn't have the impact on me as, say, when he goes into that one. What was it? The one shop in San Francisco the next morning when the owner comes out, the owner who knows, the Asian owner who knows Donald Sutherland's character, says, "That's not my wife. That's not my wife." That moment freaked me out more so than anything else.
I found the moment with the plant, with the it just lands on the leaf, and then it begins to spread from there. Oh, that got me.
Yeah. No. That's that whole footage at the beginning, right? At the beginning of the film. That kind of gets me too. But we're talking about this kind of the same thing with the whole suggestion of what's happening, of something's not quite right, gets you more than the overt effect.
Yes.
Joe, what do you think?
Well, I personally, I liked it. And of course, I'll tell you a quick story. When it came out originally, the film critics, I thought it was, not great, not bad. But in recent times now, all the critics have claimed, hey, this is one of the greatest remakes of all time.
It's gotten an appreciation over the years. Yeah.
Yes. And the thing to me is that, there are some things that, compared to the original and the remake here, it was like in the original, when your pod person pops up, while you're napping, they come in and they kill you. So they replace you. In the remake, once the pods are, your doubles out, and you see it, they're going to kill you, one way or the other. But it was just like, I'm going like, hey, as long as you don't fall asleep, you're fine. Yeah, good luck with that, buddy.
And then there's a sequence though where you wonder if
really
you're asleep and the pod is forming around you. There are tendrils that become attached. You see it when it happens to Donald Sutherland. Right. There are tendrils that become attached to his body, and I wonder if the life force is drained from you, and once the body is formed, full formed out of the pod, then if you, the human, become the lifeless corpse.
I think you could be totally right.
Because what happens is when Brooke Adams interrupts it, she has to spend several minutes trying to wake up, snap Donald Sutherland out of it, and it looks like he is in more than just sleep.
Yes.
That he's in some kind of coma where he's dying or something like that, and so he slowly has to wake up and tears off all the tendrils out of him, off him, and things like that. So I think that's how they die.
Right. And that could be totally all the way, because I haven't seen the remake in a while, and I was actually watching the original just a little while ago.
The original is a great one, and I recommend that to Anthony as well to watch. Yes. I also have high regard for the 1994 Abel Ferrara remake, which is just called Body Snatchers, which the whole thing is set on a military base, and that has some unique terror of its own. It's got Forrest Whitaker in it, and so forth. So that's a good one as well. This really is a kind of a storyline that works well for theaters, for horror fans, and so forth. That's why you can revisit it every 20 years or so.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, Anthony. Like this cast is also really incredible. Yeah, Donald Sutherland. Yeah, Brooke Adams. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jeff Goldblum. Hello, Jeff.
Leonard Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy and Art Hindle, who some of you guys may remember for being in Black Christmas. Kevin McCartney. And even Don Siegel, the director,
makes a cameo as a cabbie, isn't it? Yeah,
is in this film. So, it's a great cast and a great little film.
And you see an uncredited Robert Duvall.
Yes.
In the bit, but Anthony, you were about to say something.
Oh yeah, I think we've kind of moved past it, but I wanted to mention. You say that as the pods are releasing the copy, the original, the human, once they fall asleep they die, So one of the things that's not explained, and none of those things that just will fire at imagination, you're thinking, what the shit is going on here, is just how is that's being done? Because there's a clear indication that you die once the copy is out, because you fall asleep, you just turn ash like, Brooke Adams did. But how is that possible? It's one of those things like you don't actually need an answer, but maybe in your head it's rattling around and you're saying, how is this possible? Does that mean that the spores, the aliens have complete dominance over the world? And because to be honest, they are never ever A, panicked, B, aggressive. They're going about their business. It's almost like World of Worlds, where they were, infinitely complacent in their, domination over the human being. Not a worry in the world. And the way they're going about spreading the germ is routine. It's organized. They even have say, if you have questions, step aside. So how do they do that? How do they achieve? There's one of those questions like maybe you'd kind of like an answer, but does it really matter if there is? It's just one of those things that is just floating there that says maybe we were doomed the minute they arrived, because the minute I fall asleep, I'm dead. Now the remake with Nicole Kidman, it's kind of hokey the way they do this, because she's chugging Red Bulls and Monsters and I have to stay up. It's heavy-handed the way that that's handled. On this one, it's you have to stay up. If you don't, you fall asleep, and you can see the makeup effects. You can see the deterioration. It's rapid. I just love that extra detail that just kind of shows the creature's power over the human race. It's just so complete that they're just here to do their business, and hey, we'll find you, but if you don't, you'll fall asleep. We already have your copy here.
But that's the whole it's a whole silent menace kind of
that's the really scary part.
And that's where where people thought, at least with the original novel and the original film, people thought this was a definite take on communism, because it infiltrates it plays on their fear of government infiltrating their every aspect of their lives quietly, silently, but irrevocably, growing, taking over. And you're right, they don't do it with an anger or anything like that. They do it with a purpose. It's just, we're here, our life is superior to yours, and we're going to simply quietly take over. That's what it comes down to. Did anybody just have fun with I know the talk at the time was, in a sense, here's Leonard Nimoy playing another alien.
Yes.
I knew the second time around, I knew he was already infected because of just kind of the way that he although Nimoy himself was a perfect actor for this, because he's already has this cool, calm,
impassive demeanor. Yeah,
exactly. It just fit. So if you didn't know who he was, you maybe thought he was that psychotherapist, but no, he's a creature. The second time around, without even knowing he was a creature, because I forgot, he just came off as even though he's trying to help. Again, it goes back to that silent demeanor, like, we're gonna take over one way or another. We already know. We got this.
Right.
We'll humor you. And here's another thing I wanted to mention, and this is why there's so many layers to this movie that it just makes your seat uncomfortable. As you can see from the beginning, they are aggressive in numbers.
Sure.
They were not aggressive. I mean, chasing after you. They were not the same way when, let's say, Leonard Nimoy was surrounded by 4 or 5 humans. So when they got together, as the movie progressed, they were less afraid to show themselves, right? They were no longer hiding in plain sight. They were out there. They were taking you down. They were, creating roadblocks, pulling people out of cars. They infiltrated, who knows, quite easily the police force, right? I'm sure they had the National Guard. I'm sure they were in the government.
They might have even been in the White House.
Yeah, most likely. Probably already had the White House. It just shows you complete domination from the get-go. But they recognized if we don't have the numbers now, then we still have to have some kind of subtlety, some kind of stealth. And that, again, it reminded me of the thing where Kirk Douglas, he's burning the body and he says, I know you're not all the thing, because if you were, then you would all attack me just now. He put to words what Phil Kaufman directed in, it was like a 2.5-hour movie. I think I didn't look at the runtime. 115 minutes. That was very well done. There's so many parts of this movie that you can just point and say, this is expert filmmaking. This is why it stands the test of time. This is why it constantly goes through the remasters, because it's so well done that you just have to watch it and experience it, really.
Did you recognize the walk-on or the bit with Robert Duvall and the dog?
I did, yes.
Yeah, that was clever. That was cleverly done and spooky as,
Yes.
When you see the human head on the dog.
Yeah.
That is awful.
That is unnerving as hell.
That gave him away, man.
Right.
No, here's a nice little trivia story. I'll give you 2, really. In the hour and 24 minute during the taxi ride, Donald Sutherland and Brooke Adams take, their nervousness is real, because Don Siegel, who's lost much of his vision, was driving throughout the dark streets of San Francisco without his glasses. So they're terrified.
Oh, what the shit?
Hey, man, I can't see where I'm
driving. The fear
driving.
was real.
Yes. And then, of course, we'll talk about Leonard Nimoy's character. The leather gloves, or half gloves, that Dr. David Kilber, Leonard Nimoy, wore were deliberate. Used to be the sole purpose of making the character more distant and recognizable. Nimoy got the idea from a friend who wore it for a cover on his burned hand. So, hey, that's why he wore the glove, man. The gloves. The super gloves. But yeah, this movie is definitely something everyone should see, really. The cast is incredible. Veronica Cartwright later, next year, would be in Alien, directed by Ridley Scott. So, Art Hindle from Black
I love Veronica
Christmas.
Cartwright in this. And she just expresses fear so easily, at least on camera.
Yes.
Now, Jeff Goldblum also.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, how old was he? 20s?
20s up-ish. Yeah, man.
I mean, he has such a distinct look. Even now, you would easily spot him in a crowd.
Yes. Imagine if the invasion of the body snatchers met Jurassic Park. Would you imagine a dinosaur with a pod person? Nah. Joking. Don't take me serious. I don't want to get in trouble.
Now, there was a lot mentioned of the cinematography. If you watch the behind the scenes, the featurettes, I thought the camera work, it's not so much that it's a good story. There was some serious good world building here. But you need to, for a movie to be this effective, I mean, all facets, have to be good, if not great. And I thought the camera work, especially, I know it was noted in the special features, but when I was watching it, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is putting me up close and personal in the film. When they were in the apartment and Leonard Nimoy, and they have the officers there, and Donald Sutherland is there, and he's like, Brooke Adams, she's a pod person, her body is right there, and they go to look, and it's no longer there, and they're just arguing. The way that camera is in there, it has such a kinetic energy. You feel like you're kind of like the fly in the room, or maybe you're just a guy walking around getting everyone's point of views. But I thought filming in that way, and then in other scenes we have the widescreen. There's so much variation to this film. It really speaks of when we just didn't go out and shoot it from frame by frame by frame by frame. I mean, they took serious care to keep you on edge, to keep you disorientated. And if they could find a way to make sure that you didn't feel comfortable with the next scene, they did it.
I'm looking at on Wikipedia about the film. Apparently, the scene at the beginning where the pods travel through space from their dead homeworld was a simple practical effect created live for the camera. According to Kaufman, they found some viscous material in an art store. They paid $12 for a big vat of it, and then they dropped it into solutions and reversed the film. That whole scene with the stuff dripping.
This was a low budget movie, and they had to figure out ways to achieve what they wanted to do. And what we've always talked about, sometimes that can work in your favor, because now you're thinking outside the box, you're thinking creatively. I thought that was a very unsettling to begin with. I didn't realize that was a piece of wood right in the beginning. That looked very much like, the surface of some desolate, long forgotten, inhabitable planet. So the stuff that they were able to achieve with what they had, sometimes that just it works in your favor. I'm sure they wouldn't have turned down $100 million budget. I'm sure they said, we want this scene, and they would spend $5 million to get it done. But sometimes the end results can be like, well, we weren't expecting it to look like that, but damn, it looks really good. I'm sure you're not going to see that again.
They also note that the dog with I didn't even recall this creepy moment until seeing it again. The dog with the banjo player's face, there's a moment where the creature appears to lick itself. That's an actual mechanism that was created to make it appear like that's happening. That scene with the dog with the banjo player's
really?
face. Yeah. The creature is appearing to lick itself. Apparently, that was a mechanism that was created for just that effect.
And by the way, the person who was that banjo player, or the homeless guy, was none other than Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead.
Right.
I did not know that. Wow, that's mind-blowing. Really?
Yep.
But so we've got cameos by Robert Duvall.
This is an all-star show.
Right. We've got cameos by Robert Duvall. We've got Jerry Garcia. There's a lot of little nuggets. This is the kind of film that you can have repeat viewing, and you can pick up little gems each time you view. And it was really a fan favorite, or a favorite at the box office, grossing nearly $25 million at the time. Think about that. That's 1978. What that inflation would have that at now.
So where does this film sit in the pantheon of horror movies for you guys?
Of horror films, like I said, it still doesn't make topping the original 56 film.
Oh, it's better than 56.
Yeah, the 56 film, to me is just a masterful classic. But this is up there. I would agree with what Joe mentioned, which is as far as sequels having been made, this is probably the best sequel of a film done in my view. Like in cinema history, this is the best sequel.
Better than, let's say, Aliens?
Yeah.
Because Aliens is always widely regarded as one of the best sequels ever made. Either Aliens or Terminator 2.
See, to me, now then this I draw the ire sometimes of Aliens fans, is that to me it plays more like Rambo than it does a horror thriller, and I was kind of disappointed with that. To me, I was kind of disappointed with that. I prefer the subtlety of the original film, the slow building terror and so forth. So Aliens is good, and this is probably a topic for a different show, but I prefer the original. So as far as sequels
we'll have to do an Alien and Aliens retrospective now. Now it's a challenge.
Watch out, people! Please do not send
2 movies,
hate
1
towards
show.
Joe.
Huh?
What, Joe?
I was saying, please don't send any hate mail towards me. I'm
see,
innocent.
I'll tell you what. I'm one of probably the 5 people in the world that actually prefers Alien 3 to Aliens.
Oh my God! Now you just lost.
Now you
What
gotta
the
go.
hell?
We're sorry. You're out of here, man.
Good Lord, are you serious?
I'm talking about the
What the
uncut, the director's cut of it, not the original theatrical release, which still doesn't make sense.
Houston, we got a problem.
Yeah. Houston, we're gonna have to get a look. We're gonna got to give Jim Lovell here some oxygen. Breathe them.
I'm just
Alien 3 was there's train wrecks, then there's Alien 3.
You got to go with the director's cut, which is only come out in recent years, if I remember correctly. You go to
I've never seen a director's cut. He would have to change
David
so
Fincher's
much from that movie.
There's so much. It was really studio interference that came in and just sabotaged the editing of that film. David Fincher's director's cut restores a lot of the the sequences that were taken out, and so it's almost a different movie when you watch it. So that's I recommend that one. That director's cut is what is to me better than Aliens. Not the theatrical cut. The theatrical original cut is shit, folks.
I'll just leave it at that.
We'll definitely have to touch on Aliens because I didn't realize it was such a hot button topic.
Oh, we're in trouble. Oh my. Alien fans, please. No.
Don't
send the alien head after me, man.
Can we all say though that Alien Resurrection or the 1997 film is more crapola?
Yeah. I'll go with that.
Oh yeah, that was definitely shit.
Even though it has Sigourney Weaver,
that was Sigourney Weaver taking a paycheck and trying her best, really.
Yeah. She was trying to do like the Jamie Lee Curtis, was doing to far greater success with Halloween 20 years later, returning to a role that, unfortunately in this, returning to a role that was a huge career boost for her. The only thing is that she should have looked at the script, but anyway.
Many actors who had really breakout films and series kind of stayed on. I hate to mention Bruce Willis because he has a debilitative.
You can say it. You can say it, Anthony. Come on.
No, it's aphasia.
Aphasia.
Aphasia, yeah. So he no longer will be acting, but he had Die Hard, which was a masterpiece. Die Hard 2 was good, but he just kept ringing the bell, going to the well, and by the end, you're just like, what the shit is going here?
Well, see, that's what we need to do. Like something. I mean, if we could do, just get away from horror for a minute, do a show on the Die Hard.
I'd love to do that
because I am a fan of Bruce Willis. I'm a fan of all of his Die Hard films. I think they serve a purpose. They're like comfort food to to watch, for the action junkie like myself. Sure, there are films that are better than others, and so forth. But I think they're all just immensely fun to watch. And I'm just speaking for a moment seriously. I'm just devastated by this whole news. He has. I've kind of groaned at some of the antics that he has done in his personal life and things like that. But I don't know the guy, personally. But as an actor, I like him, and I wish. I've read some stuff about since I found out about his aphasia affliction. I read some stuff about it, and it's a degenerative illness. It's not. It's something along the lines of affecting the brain, like dementia and Alzheimer's. It's not something that he's. It's something that can be managed. It's not something that he's going to be like recovering from.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for anybody who has this, because they're going to have their lives ripped from them. Basically. Anyway, but go ahead, Joe.
No, all I was going to say is I agree with you, Kevin. We wish him all the best, and
Yeah, what I was going to say was to Anthony that I actually really like Die Hard with a Vengeance. If we're just talking for a second about the Die Hard films, the Die Hard with a Vengeance, that whole rapport between Sam Jackson and Bruce Willis is just
really
kind
you like that one. I thought that was the weakest entry in the series. Yeah, I mean, I know
not even Jeremy Irons is the villain.
I like Jeremy Irons as the villain. I thought the story's good, but in the 90s, I don't know if you guys are aware, a lot of movies wanted to focus on race, because you had the Rodney King riots, you had everything that's happening in LA and Compton. A lot of movies wanted to focus on that. I want to say highlight. I almost want to say use as leverage for their own films. But it made a lot of careers. It made Cuba Gooding's career. I thought if Die Hard wanted to make a movie, wanted to include that, it didn't have to be so heavy-handed, especially with Samuel Jackson's character. It just seemed after a while. I mean, there was the first couple instances where they were butting heads. I get it, white cop, black civilian. But after a while, it just kept going on and on and on.
But it has that immortal piece of dialogue where where Willis goes, "Admit it, you hate me because I'm white," and Jackson goes, "No, I hate you because you're going to get me killed."
There you go.
Good.
I just thought they could have got the message across without being so heavy-handed. They hit you over the head with a rubber mallet. It took away. It really detracted from the movie. Okay. Bruce Willis couldn't do his job. Again, you're trying to get along with Samuel Jackson.
Sure.
We're so far off the horror, it doesn't even matter.
Okay. And you want to get back? Let's get back.
We'll get back. Let's wrap up Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yes.
Joe, where's it rate for you as far as like the pantheon of horror movies? I'm curious.
It definitely, for me, when I first saw this, I kind of I didn't get the ending. I really didn't. And it kind of threw me off, and I kind of went the ending sucked, but the more that I revisited it, I realized, okay, it's a good movie. It's definitely one of the better remakes for a horror sci-fi film. it's definitely up there. It'd be definitely in the top 20 of all-time horror films or so. So that's where I'm going to leave it, Johnny.
So Anthony, where would you put it?
I would say top 15. For the time, I thought it was very well done in all facets. I thought watching it both as a fan and kind of like as a critic, I thought there was a tremendous amount of skill in all facets of this movie. I enjoyed how they depicted San Francisco. At the time, there was a lot of change happening. They do also mention this in the special features, but you can get it in the movie. There was a lot of adult themes popping up that probably wouldn't have been there. Things were going from hippie to sleazy to dangerous, but it still captured a lot of familiar scenes in San Francisco. Nowadays, San Francisco is a cesspool. It's a mound of human excrement. It's the worst place to live and the most expensive place to live at the same time. That's not an exaggeration, folks. But it was still good to see San Francisco in its heyday, as just this town that was experiencing change, that had so much diversity. It was a melting pot. I enjoyed seeing that because I grew up in San Francisco. I spent a lot of my youth up there, visiting both my grandmothers and my mom. I heard at work and just going everywhere, more places than I can probably even remember. So it'll always have fond memories of the old San Francisco. So it was good to see that kind of San Francisco. Yeah, I would say definitely top 15. As far as if you're talking about like paranormal, paranoia, apocalyptic movies, is definitely up there, top 10. Maybe even top 5. I would put that out there with The Thing and movies like Contagion, movies that just kind of threaten the very existence of humans. You're fighting against something that you may not come out the other end. And I also like Donald Sutherland. I haven't watched too many films of him when he was younger. I think if you asked me a couple of years ago, Donald Sutherland, what do you remember him from? I'd probably say Outbreak, with Morgan Freeman.
But you don't remember him from Clue and
Clue? He wasn't. Nope. See, I don't remember Clue.
Kelly's Heroes.
Kelly's Hero.
Actually, for us, nostalgic classic horror, fans, he actually got a start in a 1964 Euro horror with Christopher Lee, done called Castle of the Living Dead, and he was in a couple of Hammer films in the 60s before you kind of knew, before you started to know who Donald Sutherland was. So he was just a regular ensemble actor, but it was the 70s that really had him shooting the stardom as kind of the I don't even want to say the counterculture hero. I remember him from the original movie MASH.
Yep.
He plays, in case you didn't know, Anthony, he plays the original Hawkeye Pierce in MASH that was played on television by Alan Alda. Nice. He plays it in the film, and Robert Altman's film. So yeah, he's good. I might also recommend The Puppet Masters. If you want to see a similarly themed, film about an alien invasion, The Puppet Masters is really effectively done. 1994, with Donald Sutherland again, the star, and again involved as the chief hero, and so forth. And that's based on Robert Heinlein's novel, The Puppet Masters, also from the 50s. Another similar thing to the Jack Finney novel.
Well, I think we can probably just put a bow on this one. You had some of that, Joe?
I talk about alien invasions. There's also a movie with Peter O'Toole and a few Joanne Goin called Phantoms,
which is from 2001, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Ben Affleck's in that.
Yes, Ben Affleck, a young Ben. So about aliens and stuff like that. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, okay. That it's pretty interesting, but yeah, that just about wraps it up for Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll go around the circle and talk about what we've been working on. Joe, what you got going on?
Well, I am just working on talking about what's going on with the guest list over at Monster Palooza. Talking about some nice little upcoming horror films. You know, of course, we all know Rob Zombie's The Munsters has been rated PG, so the kids can go see it. And,
the kids are going to go see a Rob Zombie movie?
Yep, they are.
You seem to doubt that, Joe. You seem to doubt that, Anthony.
They're creepy and they're kooky.
I mean, his album covers are PG-13.
Yeah, well, it's something like that.
Mysterious and spooky. They're all
right.
together. Ookie.
Yeah, I got my doubts.
Yes. The sequel, soon to be Anthony Daron. New movie.
Kevin, what's going on?
Well, I've just finished my my piece for We Belong Dead. It's 31st issue on American Werewolf in London.
Hey.
And talking about that, and that's a lot of fun. Revisiting that film, and I know we've done a retro show on that, but revisiting that film myself this last week was it's really a great film. I still don't know whether I place it above The Howling or how I put one over the other on those two films, but it's
together.
It's a wonderful, and I'm busy working on lineups for our show here.
Yeah,
we've got Steve Rubin set to come on May 19th, the author of the Twilight Zone Encyclopedia and the James Bond Encyclopedia, and 2 or 3 other books, and we've got Frank Farrell coming up this month on the 14th. Spookies, which is now on Spookies like 4 or something, like 4 or 5 right now. And then there's a bunch of other stuff. We have, of course, Julian David White coming up on the 28th, and I'm having fun with his book. I'm really enjoying it. It's alive, a historical fiction account of the making of Boris Karloff's immortal classic. So there's some stuff that's really our show is really taking off.
Yeah, I love it.
There you go.
We have so many cool guests that have both been on there that are coming on. We are absolutely enjoying it. We will constantly share with everyone, build the followers, and remember, Death Parade Film Fest, the festival is happening. So we want to see your work come in. Remember, 30% off.
I think that's great.
April
that
1st.
Is great.
I think that's good, especially, we're still coming out of the pandemic. Maybe things aren't firing up as quickly as everyone had hoped. Hopefully, this will help filmmakers, save a couple dollars and send us your work.
Just so filmmakers will know, can you give what the actual cost for submission would be were it not for 30% off?
The actual cost? Oh, it's listed on Film Freeway. So if you go in there right now, based on the date, you can see how much it would cost. And it's also broken down by what type of film. So there's... I
was just hoping that you can give a number.
And, sure, yeah.
Tell people 30% off of this. That really sells them.
It does. No, it really does.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and bring this up here. So right now we are in the early bird deadline.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is how much you would save.
Let's say you have a short that is 10 minutes or 10 minutes and over. So that's early bird. If you're a gold member, it would cost you $7. So what's 30% of $7?
That's about $5.
$5. So it's going to cost you $5. You're going to save more if you have a longer film. So let's say you have a super short, which is 10 minutes and under.
Sure.
30%, so $2, so $4. Feature film over 60 minutes, $17, so 30% of $17 is
about 1/3.
about 1/3.
So you're looking at probably about $5 off that.
Yeah. So we already have.
That's pretty good.
We're relatively cheap. I like to keep it cheap. We are not in this to be rich. We are in this to, share your work and provide a platform. We literally mean that. I know a lot of people say that. We mean that. We are here to promote your work, and if we break even, we're happy.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Derone. If Anthony Derone does want to be rich and he wants to live in San Francisco,
no,
that's why.
I'll live in
He wants to live with the ghost.
Folks, for people in San Francisco, let me tell you, Anthony Derone can be found at
666 Mockingbird.
My job is based in San Francisco, so I can't totally rack on it. But I've been there long enough to say I remember when it was better.
I know what you're talking about, and I love the city, to be honest with you, in spite of all of its flaws. But I definitely know what you're saying. I spent a lot of time in San Francisco, having grown up in San Jose, and it has its problems, like a lot of cities do. But but anyway.
And by the way, yes. And don't forget too, if you have a short film that you might want to show for the the Grim and Bloody podcast or theater,
sure,
let Anthony know.
Sure.
As well.
Sure.
Yep,
let either of us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. We love to do those theaters where we actually, then show video, and we actually
those are fun.
Have to wear pants and things
and
like
we
that.
Get to interview you.
Yeah. You get to see our grizzled mugs.
True.
But anyways,
that's
all I got, folks.
That's all I got too. And thank you for tuning in. And we will see you next episode. Enjoy horror, guys.
Keep America strong.